Good evening and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Hamza Idris. Tonight, Federation account allocations to states and local governments have climbed sharply, with monthly disbursement now running into trillions of naira. Yet, for many Nigerians, daily life tells a different story. Across several states, especially in the north, poverty, unemployment, and the number of out-of-school children remain high. The big question is simple. Why is the impact of the increased revenue? We have in the studio former Minister of Youth and Sports, Barr Dalung, on the nation's revenue trend and what it means for development and people's welfare. But first, highlights of major issues in the polity.
Despite receiving an estimated 9 trillion naira in Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) inflows in 2025, governors are under pressure from labor unions, civil society and opposition parties. Critics say rising revenue hasn't translated into better welfare for citizens. Labor and opposition groups, including the Nigeria Labour Congress, argue that despite the revenue surge, citizens see little benefit. They cite weak governance, misplaced priorities, and corruption at the state level as reasons for limited welfare improvements. The Department of State Services has arraigned former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and his son, Abdulaziz Malami, on a 5-count charge sheet. They face terrorism financing, aiding and abetting terrorism, and illegal firearms possession counts. They appeared before Justice Joyce Abdul Malik at the Federal High Court in Abuja. In count 1, the former AGF is accused of knowingly abating terrorism financing by refusing to prosecute terrorism financiers whose case files were brought to his office as the Attorney General of the Federation. The presidency has taken a swipe at opposition politicians after a new global tech ranking placed Lagos as the fastest growing emerging tech ecosystem in the world. In a post on his verified X handle, at A.O. Nanuga 1956, Special Advisor on Information and Strategy Bio Nanuga suggested that politicians who focus on negative statistics, particularly the African Democratic Congress ADC, will be unhappy with the recognition. Onanuga said those critics who habitually push negative narratives about Nigeria will be displeased by the latest international tech accolade for Lagos and Nigeria under President Tinubu. At least 5 residents and a soldier were killed on Monday in an attack by suspected bandits in Zura community, Bashar District, Plateau State. Residents report that 3 soldiers are missing after a gun battle with the attackers. The soldiers had been deployed to boost security amid ongoing banditry and kidnappings in the area. Witnesses say the assailants had earlier burned several houses in Sabongari community, also in Bashar District, before moving on Surak.
Shafiu Suleiman there with major developments in the polity. Barrister Dalung, welcome to our studio.
Thank you very much for another opportunity.
I want you to comment on the arraignment of Malami and his son. Of course, you are also a legal practitioner.
Well, listening to the charges and the arrangement of the former Attorney General, understood that he's arranged for refusing to prosecute terrorist financiers. And I think I have been an advocate that we need to have the terrorist financiers in this country arranged and prosecuted. Senior Advocate Malami is arranged for refusing to prosecute. Where are the lists of the financiers? The financiers list released to President Muhammadu Buhari by the United Arab Emirates. The list released to this government by General Chani of Chad. Where are the financiers? Why are we having only Malami? We should have had Malami arranged alongside these financiers. And I'm tempted to ask, So his son also refused to advise his father to prosecute the financials. That's why he's also arranged alongside.
Maybe the issue of failure to arrange the financials is just one aspect of it. But they are also accusing him of acquiring wealth illegally.
Those charges are before another judge, and he has been granted bail in those charges. As an advocate of transparency and anti-corruption, I don't stand in for anybody accused of corruption. Even if Solomon Dalung today is accused of corruption, I should be handcuffed and tried, because that is what the law says. But what I will not accept is selective justice, selective prosecution. We're now having Malami being dramatized. What of the great people whose corrupt practices are sitting comfortably in Tinubu's government? The Senate president was arrested by Magu, the former chairman of EFCC, who took homologous sum of dollars recovered from his house.
Allegedly.
When we saw, allegedly, because he's still having this benefit of doubt. Why is he not prosecuted? What has happened to the case of Dr. Edu Beta, who in 6 months as Minister of Humanitarian Affairs is accused of being unable to account for 72 billion? What has happened to that case? Why are we dramatizing Malami and his son?
But I think it's beyond drama. It's beyond drama.
It's a real drama. Because if it is not drama,
why are you saying it's drama?
Let us have the whole corrupt people, even those ones sitting in the National Assembly comfortably, all of them assembled and prosecuted. We'll know that the war against corruption has started.
They have to start somewhere.
No, they started somewhere. It was started somewhere, but it was abandoned because it wasn't convenient to the current regime. That's why they are now selecting.
Why was it not convenient?
It was not convenient because those people had at least fulfilled what my friend, former comrade, Senator Oshomole said. Anybody who jump into APC, his sins are forgiven, and he can sit in an aircraft with a lady and be massaging her leg. That's what he said.
You think if Malami were in APC?
No, but you will not hear anything. If Malami is granted bail today and joined APC, this case is dead. You will not hear it.
Maybe you will advise him to do so that he can have some peace.
No, Malami is a highly opinionated person. This advice had been given to him by some family members, but he held on to, because he knew that it is not a sincere war against corruption. And these terrorist financiers, their lists were so many. It has been increased. Why is this government not ready to prosecute them? There are even members of the National Assembly.
Do you think his hands are clean? Even yesterday.
Whose hands now?
Malami.
No, I cannot even stand in for Malami because there are serious allegations against him. I'm only saying that it shouldn't be Malami. That courtroom should be filled with all the corrupt people that has been indicted by EFCC. So many governors, so many senators, so many. I mean, what has happened to the case of the former Attorney General of the Federation, who was accused of, in one single transaction, 109 billion. He's today rewarded as a traditional ruler. So let us not deceive ourselves.
All right. Curious, because the issue we want to discuss today, trillions of naira, allocated to all the tiers of government, federal, state, and local government. But our interest today is actually on states and local government areas. But as I said, curiously, this coincides, you've seen it in one of our tidbits there, Lagos being tagged positively as one of the fastest rising capitals in the world. Is it really surprising to you?
Fast rising capital in what? In buildings by the political elite, or in the improvement of the well-being of the poor people?
Not talking about eco, I mean technology. And technology is number one, even far ahead
of oil. How does that technology translate into the social well-being of the citizens, which the Constitution said the primary responsibility of government is?
I'm referring to Lagos specifically.
I am still talking about Lagos. that whatever you are now trying to convince me to accept, I flew in from Lagos yesterday into Abuja. I was in Lagos. And the situation of poverty among the poor begging on the street is as notorious as Abuja. So this increase in technology you are talking about, you see, we should not be measuring the increase in the lifestyle of the political elites, the president and his wife, his government, how they are visiting the foreign countries for the graduation of their ceremony, the graduation ceremony of their children, how they are going to the hospital outside, and then you tell us that, oh, this is great achievement. No, we want to see this achievement on the faces of the common people who cannot afford one span.
They are talking about technology, which is actually the driving force now. And that is what they are. Are you saying maybe it's a stunt?
It's indeed a complete stunt. And it's an holistic explanation of progress. How many poor people? You see, I kept emphasizing on the poor whose demography is higher. Do they have access to technology? So how do you measure that progress? There are so many people in Lagos today that the concept technology is mere rhetoric to them. So this, let us not be misled by holistic progress as progress of our economy or our high-tech or whatever it is. If technology is indeed mobilized and has progressed in Lagos as it is, you could use technology to improve agriculture. You could use technology to improve trade. You could use technology to improve transportation. You could use technology to improve even teaching in primary and secondary schools. But the devices, the infrastructure of technology is beyond the reach of a common person. So how can't you convince me that it's progress?
I'm sure Onanuga will get back at you because, he said that the naysayers will say that is not a development. No,
but for my friend and brother Onanuga told us in 1995 when he was editor-in-chief of Newsweek that President Tinubu was a drug baron. Today he's laundering his image.
Allegedly, I think. Even
he said he published it. I still have the paper. Voila.
I read the story.
Yes.
Of course, the headline did not say, but then in this story.
Let's accept allegedly. Voila told us that even if you give Tinubu 30 years, nothing will happen. He was Atiku's spokesperson. He has now joined this thing. He's trying to launder image. Kemi, the Minister of Aviation, was one of the lawyers who prosecuted Tinubu when he was governor for certificate forgery. He's today a press singer. So if all these people will tell us that Nigeria, the economy of Nigeria has improved, Nigerians should know that what they are telling us is that we are a few minutes into hell. Because they have a history of distortion, propaganda, and making false narration. So I would have expected, if this story came from somebody different, I would have taken my time to do some little research and come back and appreciate. And if it is true, but from Onanuga, they are trying to scare me.
9 trillion naira shared in 2025. Did this make any sense to you? As far as, reaching out to Nigerians is concerned by the government.
Shared between the 3 tiers of government?
Yes.
Yeah. It has more or less tend to scare me.
It scares you?
Yeah.
Not incites you?
No.
You are not,
How can I be excited? Such a huge sum of money was shared between the 3 tiers of government. And in my village, which is a local government, where I was a chairman before, and the monthly subvention I used to receive from the federation account was 90 million.
To the local government?
To the local government.
Which year you served as local
2007 to 2009.
You served for 2 years.
Yes.
You used to get...
And what I did then was that every month after collecting this allocation...
90 million or thereabouts.
Yes. I will hold a people's parley. Common people will come and gather in the local government secretariat.
Which is that local government?
Langtang local government. And I will announce to them what I receive. And I did that all the months I was chairman. And they asked me why was I doing that. And
24 months?
Yes. And I told them what I want you to do is, after leaving office, you have the statistics. You can look at my performance and be able to assess whether I was fair in utilizing your resources or not. So if I'm hearing that trillions had been shared and our people are poorer than when I was a chairman of a local government, how do you expect me not to be scared?
What did you do? Can you mention just 2 things that if I go to Langtang South now, I will say, okay, legacy bequeathed to the people by Barrister Dalung?
Well, when I was a chairman of my local government, I transformed the local government from a very rural setting into a modern city, especially the local government headquarters, because the health infrastructures in 4 places where I built new primary health care in Sabongida, in Mabudi, in Wubang, and Kanana. I built the director's quarters in the local government. I built the chairman's lodge. I built a guest house. I built director's office.
But the last time we hosted you,
I built the education department in the local government. And
you count building a house for directors as achievement?
These are the infrastructure upon which government exists. I told you about primary health care.
Why did you take exception? Why did you take exception when Tinubu allocated money for the building or upgrading of the house of the vice president and then his quarters in Lagos and all that? You condemn that.
But it's a single thing the president did. You are listening to what I am even rolling out. You've not even allowed me to finish.
Well, I don't want us to actually take the whole energy there.
Because I want to give you a comprehensive thing.
No, so we don't have time for the comprehensive. Okay, that's why I just mentioned
the poor we are touched. I also constructed the dam in the capital city, which used to dry up every season. And since 2007 that I constructed it, it has remained viable and function until when I became minister, and then I installed water treatment plant in that same place, which is the man today as the source of water to our people. But
we were told that you perform woefully as minister. Could that be correct?
You will. Of course, everybody has his opinion. But I'm telling you what you can verify.
Did you perform as minister?
I left records in the Ministry of Youth and Sport that nobody has been able to beat. And only one single thing I will point to you. Okay. Since I left the Ministry of Youth and Sport, Nigeria has never qualified for the World Cup. I went, they were not there. I qualified them in 2018 as a minister alone, when before you qualified, you used to have a presidential task force with a budget of 10 billion. But single-handedly I qualified Nigeria with a match to spare. And since I left, Nigeria has never smelled that place. So before you would say Solomon Dalung is a woeful performance.
I didn't say. I'm quoting what people.
Yes, help them to quote. But I also answer the question. This woeful performance, since he left that place, what happened that Nigeria cannot qualify?
So you still see yourself as a successful minister?
The most successful minister of youth and sports development. The national swimming pool in Lagos Stadium was abandoned for 20 years. I renovated it, put it into use, and it is being used today. It's still there. The Paralympic Gymnasium in Lagos, National Stadium, that was abandoned. I revived it. The basketball indoor court in Lagos, I revived it. I built 3 national mini stadia in Daura, in Mabudi, in Birnin Kudu, in Kano. I was the only minister who started a project in 2016 and completed it in 2018 before you leave. So all these are woeful performance, and I accept it.
As they said. Now, former minister, why are we not seeing results now from the trillions of naira being shared by the federal, state, and local government areas? Okay, let's start from the local government, because you served as chairman. When you were there, you were receiving your money directly?
Yeah, when I was a chairman of a local government, I think the chairman then majority of us were professionals. And so we couldn't be manipulated by the governor. So we got our allocation. Nothing. It comes through the joint allocation account committee.
Your governor was Daria then?
No, Jonah Jan.
Okay.
But our monies were released to us as it came. Because there was no any attempt that was not made to deduct even a dime at the joint allocation committee, and we rejected it. Because let me inform Nigerians that no governor has direct access to the account of the local government, except the chairman at JAC will appropriate the same to the governor. That's why it's very difficult for you to prosecute a governor for local government funds. Because the local government fund goes into this joint allocation account committee, JAC. And those with the authority to appropriate this are the chairman of the local government, sitting at the JAC. And when they sit at the JAC, there are resolutions of how the monies should be disbursed, constitute the authority for the accountant of JAC and the chairman of JAC and the secretary of JAC to sign the local government check and release those monies. So what is happening is that the governors will always insist on conducting shabby local government elections, appointing their cronies as chairmen who will only congregate and pass resolutions releasing the monies to the governors. So even if the Supreme Court passed 100 judgments of local government autonomy, the president shouts on my mandate.
Okay, you now fast forward what obtains from your time, because if I get you right,
yes.
At what point did we get it wrong? 2009?
No. It was exceptional with our set of chairmen. We were just very difficult not to crack by the government.
Was there the joint account then?
It was. I was the deputy chairman of Algon. So you can imagine what will happen there. In fact, there was one of the meetings where the chairman said we were going to donate, each local government was going to donate 1 million naira.
1 million?
Yes, 1 million for a project of the First Lady. And I advised the chairman that from the funds released by the Federal Ministry of Finance that is published, this is what accrues to Langtansa local government. So if you are going to remove this 1 million, are you going back to publish it on that same website? So that a villager with his smartphone who opens the website can see that you have taken this money from me. How do I account for it? And they were scared. They washed up their hands and they allowed. So we had a field day. I think it was just an exceptional situation where the chairmen were all in agreement whether you either do what is right or we all leave.
So now the outcry that it is the joint account thing that is serving as a stumbling block to performance at the local government, as far as you are concerned, is not correct?
No. What I'm saying is that I am an advocate for the abolition of JAC. Because no any executive order signed by the president, like did by the late President Barr, no any judgment of the Supreme Court can change the situation if JAC exists. Because the only way you can guarantee the funds of the local government going into the hands of the chairman for you to hold them accountable is to abolish JAC. And JAC is constituted by the chairman. The governor is the nominee of the State Independent Electoral Commission that conducts that election. So he decides who becomes a chairman of a local government. And everybody must take the oath of allegiance to, oh, I'm going to be loyal. And the loyalty means when you get to Jack, you must support everything that comes there. The chairman of Joint Allocation Account Committee is appointed by the governor, who is the commissioner of local government affairs. The secretary of Jack is appointed by the governor, who is the permanent secretary, local government. The accountant, Jack, is appointed by the governor, is an appointee of the governor. So the accounts of the local government technically is under the control of the state. So if you want to help the local government autonomy, don't go and be depending on judgment or an executive order. Get the National Assembly to abolish Jack. Once Jack is abolished, funds from the federation account will go straight, like as it was obtainable under 1989 Constitution, the abortive 1989 Constitution. From the federation account, chairman will only go to collect mandate. And if they collect the mandate, they go to their bank to collect their monies. In such a situation, you can see development, you can also see corruption displaced in its highest distance, and you will be able to know who to hold accountable. But now, even if you round up the chairman, you cannot find any of them that has up to 100 million in his account. But
all the local government.
Yes, if you go round the chairman in each state. But if you look at the monies you are accusing them of, it will run into trillions. So it's just like bandits collecting millions in the bush. They don't have a bank. They don't have any infrastructure to keep it. Yet you can't trace where the money is. What is happening with the bandit ransom and the Joint Allocation Account Committee is just the same financial procedure.
You are comparing Joint Accounts Allocation Committee activities with banditry on the same...
Yeah, I think these bandits learned from it. They studied, criminals are very innovative. They studied this. Look, somebody is kidnapped. Ransom of 150 million is paid to the bandit in the bush. They don't have any bank there. They don't even have good houses. But you cannot trace this or track this money.
So it's the same thing with
local government. It's the same thing. Federal government will appropriate trillions to the local government. You will go to the local governments, you will not see evidence of development. If you arrest the chairman, you cannot find in his account.
Then who are the real bandits?
The real bandits are the beneficiaries.
Who are the beneficiaries?
The Jack. Those who appoint these people. The governors, let me be very honest with Nigerians, the governors are the first culprits of lack of development in the local governments.
Now, putting southern Nigeria and northern Nigeria side by side, and this has coincided with some states marking 50th anniversary since their creation. We have Ogun, we have Ondo, seen them rolling out a lot of things. We have Benue, their counterpart here, right? We have Borno, Now, how can we place them side by side? What is actually the difference between what is happening in southern Nigeria and what is happening in northern Nigeria?
Southern Nigeria has been able to develop alongside the dreams and visions of their founding fathers. Free education, which was introduced by Awolowo, still exists in the Southwest. The economic policies initiated by Azikiwe is still being practiced by the Igbos. Everybody that's elected governor is taken to tax on it. Even though the Southeast has also failure, like the North. The difference is that the economic base of the Southeast and the activity of the people marks are different. And then you go to the South, the same thing. But the Southwest has been exemplary because they have held on to the vision of their founding father. For the North, Saduna left a very beautiful blueprint for the North. Unfortunately, I think this particular republic,
the Fourth Republic,
we have only had few governors that had lived within the context of the vision of our founding fathers. And the first set of governors we had under this republic, only few of them failed. Majority, did well. You take McCarthy in Kaduna. McCarthy's transformation of Kaduna State was massive. You take Yaradua in Katsina. Yaradua did excellent. And you take other governors. But some states in that set of governors they performed poorly. Then it worsened when the second set came on board in 2007. There were only few, very, very few, who still held on to this. And you have the Sule Lamido, you have the Shema, in Katsina. These governors and others, a few of them, also did the second set, did very, very well. The third set was a disaster. From 2015. The whole thing was a disaster. And it was a disaster.
You are giving them uppercut, all of them?
I'm just being, I'm trying to be very fair to myself. Because it is the history of which I created. So I should try to moderate it so that at least the way we are so selfish in this country. Because I am an active participant of creation of that set. Because the Buhari hurricane that brought such set of people on board in 2015, I was an active participant. So I should have at least tried to cover up, but there is nothing to hide. They performed poorly, most of them. There only one or two of them or so that tried to continue. Then come this set that we have. This set has sent us next to hell.
The set of the governors that we have?
Yes, next to hell. Exception here is Inuwa of Gombe. Inuwa has performed very, very well.
What template are you using to call
I have been to Gombe. I met Inuwa and I challenged him and he invited me to Gombe. I went to Gombe and spent some days in Gombe. And what I saw there was amazing. Dankombo was an exception during the set, this failed set. Now, this set, you have to excuse Inuwa. You may not like him. He's a man of a very toxic mouth like me. And a no-nonsense mouth. But he's a performer. Inuwa, is a performer.
Okay, where are they getting it wrong? Because talking about...
Let me just identify these people before. You go to Professor Zulum, Borno. You come back to Kaura in Bauchi. Kaura has done...
What about Plateau? You are from Plateau. What about Benue? Is your neighbor? What about Niger?
Plateau, Benue, Taraba is in East Sori State. We have not been too quite fortunate. Jang for Plateau was exceptionally different. He only could not manage the issue of insecurity. But in terms of performance, we rate him among the set of fair people as somebody who did better.
Okay, fair enough. I want you to discuss where northern leaders got it wrong in terms of carrying forward legacies left behind by Ahmadu Bello Sardauna.
Now, they got it completely wrong because greed.
But you believe he also left behind legacies?
Sardauna left enduring legacies that remains the only thing today that we boast of.
You have the Northern Nigerian Development.
I don't want to be reminded, but I know that whatever that is left today that is called the North is what Sardauna left us with little improvement from these great men that I've identified. We got it wrong from great selfishness. Then what do we use to promote these two? Religious bigotry, ethnic chauvinism. These two tools has been what has been deployed effectively by the political elites to keep the North perpetually stagnated. Now, when these two negative attributes of leadership started biting hard, we now were engulfed with crisis, whether you call it socio-ethnic, socio-religious ethnic, the Boko Haram, or the bandits today. They are a creation of the greed and selfishness of the political elite. How does these two things affect the North? Sardauna was a very selfless leader. Sardauna was detribalized, and Sardauna was a leader who was willing to learn every moment. I'll give you a good example. The Tarok people did not support Sardauna. They gave him a serious political fight, and Sardauna did not abandon them. Each time he goes on tour to the Lowland Federation, he will sleep in the house of the chief of Tarok instead of the government guest house. He continued, and at a point in time, our people started thinking, this is somebody we do not like, but he's always here. I mean, there is something we should know about him. At long last, our people changed their political position and supported Sardauna. That was a leader. Today, anybody who tells the governor, this thing you are doing has serious implication on health, education, the next day you will hear DSS going to his house to search his house, and they will pick a kitchen knife and charge him as a terrorist financier. This type of intolerant leaders abandoned the rich heritage left by Sardauna. Now, they destroyed education, because what they are building is they are building an elitistic infrastructure of their children to come and take over from them. So their children's school outside the country are not here. So their schools is not their problem. The hospitals, I went to, I'm just coming, I came back from Numan before I went to Lagos. Our people do not go to the hospital now. Traditional medical practices now is what they can afford.
Because the hospitals are not there.
If you go to the primary health care, you only find staff there. If you look at the chairs, the furniture, they were the ones that was produced by Nagon Park. The place looks so dirty that a sick person coming there will just die. And those are so they are involved in this. Now, of recent, they realized that the North is blessed with rich mineral endowments. They are into conspiracy with the escalating insecurity in the North, because the mining activities that is going on in the North is alarming.
When you say they, who?
Our governors, the subnational government. I have my suspects.
Among the governors?
The governors. If they think I'm accusing them wrongly, they should come and explain to me why Sardauna alone was able to manage 19 states, and he manages successfully. 19 of them cannot manage 19 states. Let them tell me why. Sardauna was alone.
You know, those days, Sardauna can call every other person by name. I'm being this thing. But now you can see population explosion, technology, and all that. Wouldn't you give some excuses to the
technology has facilitated their even access to people. Technology has made administration very easy. Let me tell you, when I was a chairman of a local government, this banditry that they are crying and shouting, I went to Barr and told him, look, when I left office, appoint me SA on security, and I will give you.
After you left office as minister?
Yes, when this insecurity degenerated. I told him, appoint me your SA on security, and I will give you a template of operation. If I do not end insecurity within a period of 6 months to 1 year.
As SA?
Yes, I will go and die in exile.
You told Buhari?
I told Buhari.
Probably he didn't believe you because, as I said earlier, or as people said, you didn't perform as minister.
Yeah, but
how can you perform in security?
Buhari, as a person, knew that there was nobody in his government that did some of the things I did.
But he dropped you?
No. You know, reappointing somebody is an issue of political convenience and permutation. It's not about what the individual do.
So it wasn't about performance?
No.
Not carrying you along?
No, he explained to me what happened. And in depth, I understood with him. Because even if I was found in that situation, I would have not behaved differently.
I'm shocked when you said you have the template to end insecurity.
I have a template.
You mean if Tinubu were to give you
I don't trust Tinubu.
So you will not even take
No, I don't trust Tinubu. Anybody who works with Tinubu that wants to outshine Tinubu will be drafted. All those who are following me in fight, look at them. They don't know the person they're dealing with. Tinubu is somebody who wants to be worshipped. Solomon Dalung's knees can only go down to God. So we are two different people. We can't work together. Buhari was somebody. I mean, as dreadful as Buhari was somebody who I can go to talk to him and point him. There was a time some of these Baranda boys who ended up later forging his signature. One of them said, why was I talking and pointing out to people? I told my friend, keep quiet. You don't know where we started. And we don't know our covenant with him. So go out from here. You are just draining when it's presidency. So how do we have me to go and work with Tinubu? To go and learn how to kneel down. You saw how the governor of Edo State, when he was elected, he went and kneeled down there. There's no God there, and you ask Solomon down to go and kneel down. Come on. But this insecurity, a political will, I have a leader, 6 months. If I don't end it in 6 months and 1 year, I will go and die in exile.
Why are they not interested in ending it?
Because, you see, for the president is interested in his re-election. So those around him are trying to make it look like, oh, the insecurity is against you, oh, the North is against you, so this and that. So the president is being misled to believe that, oh, what is happening is against him.
Well, why can't he now arrest the situation to now get the votes of the people free? Because people, this is what they are just asking.
No, but,
give us peace.
No, but those who are misleading the president also has given him option. They have given him option that the best you can do is get all the governors on your side. You will win the election. And defection has taken place. All the governors have gone with commissioners, but the people have not gone.
How do you know?
Have you not been monitoring the defections? The one that
see people.
Yes, the one that took place in Jos. The aerial view of the people that gathered there was populated by caste and government officials. So, you know, how I wish God would teach me how to lie one day, so that at least I can be a good politician in Nigeria.
I want you to do peer review, considering if you take southern states now, it's like they have a Marshall Plan. Talking about education, for instance, visibly you will see it. Children are getting access to it. Down here in the north, it's a different ball game. Why are the governors not serious about addressing some of these issues? And they were the same people crying, you know, immediately after, even after winning elections, you know, all of them, before removal of the fuel subsidy, before they were sworn in, that, okay, by the time they have more resources, they will be able to channel it to provide education, health, security, infrastructure. Why are we not seeing all of these things? Where is the money going to?
No, we can't compare the South and the North.
Why?
Because the South is deliberate, the South is focused, the South is committed. They kept onto the heritages of their founding fathers. The North abandoned, like I said, and I give you an example with one thing of the leadership of the North. You know, the leadership of the North has this very jealous attitude to development. ADU was established as a result of Sadona invited to the University of Ibadan as a special guest. So Sadona went and sat down. And when the academic they filed in, and they were dressed in academic gowns, he too was dressed, Sadona started thinking positively. This type of ceremony does not take place in my own place. Why? So immediately he sat down. While the program was on, that was not his concern. He called his PA and asked him in Hausa, are they doing this type of ceremony in the North? He said, no. So why are we not doing this? He said, do we have a university? It's an exclusive reserve university. Higher institution, and we don't have one. So Sadona told him, okay, if we get back to the North, remind me, by next year, we must hold convocation in the North. And immediately they came back, On a Monday, he went to Zaria and started trekking the land for the university. So he will walk, he will throw stone, he will walk. When he got tired, he told them, from here to Sokoto, I have given you, build this type of institution. And by next year, we should gather people. We have a bill today. That is a leader who is looking at the future.
Okay, why are northern governors not, I mean, we see them meeting in Kaduna almost every other month and all that. But then translating some of these dreams, I remember in 2025 talking about having, is it rail, talking about fixing the roads, talking about pooling some resources, 1 billion from each state to address the rising insecurity. We hear this, we report, but then when you go to the south, look at they're going to have coastal rail, right? They're talking about, you know, having combined, you know, businesses now using comparative advantage and all that. I was shocked. Honestly, I went to a supermarket and I saw Furadanono bearing Oyo State. Furadanono here in Gwarimpa. Where are they getting it wrong? Why are they not willing to actually shelve their personal preferences to come together and do some of these things so that they can bequeath it to the generation to come?
It has to do with leadership recruitment. The North has a tradition of leadership recruitment. People were recruited based on possession of leadership qualities, whether they were educated or not.
Before?
Even in the Second Republic, we had members of the House of Reps from the North that could not speak English, that were representatives of people.
Certain parameters were just used to pick them.
They were leaders who were passionate about development.
So not about education?
No.
And they were able to deliver?
We have highly educated people now that are not passionate. And they were not recruited based on our leadership tradition. In the North, you are only made a leader when you possess the selflessness to serve. And that's why when Saduna died, they had to borrow money to transport his family to Sokoto. Tafawa Balewa was the same thing. Leadership in the North is about selflessness. But the leadership as we have now in place and its recruitment tradition is about accumulation of wealth and building of personal political.
Where are they taking the money to? Because people ask, just the way you said it earlier, a lot of money, and I am worried. When I checked what accrued to the states, was it in August? 2.2 trillion.
Yes.
Shared. The next month, I mean October, 2.094 trillion shared. You know, November, 1.928 trillion. December, 1.969 trillion. Curiously, you know, last month they had issues in Abuja because they could not agree. The governors somehow even rebelled through their commissioners when they said they were going to share just a little over 1 trillion. Where are they taking the money? And if you, because we just have 1 minute, and if you are to advise them now, ahead of the election, what do you think they can collectively do, especially in northern Nigeria, so that people will say, here we are now. In the last 3 years of collecting monies after removing subsidy, this is what we have to.
They have been investing the monies in themselves and their families. That's why they have transformed. If you see them, they have dramatically transformed. So that is where the money has been going. After the
stomach infrastructure.
No. If stomach, it would have reached it is the parliament that has stomach. They invest in themselves, corner the resources, build for themselves economic empowerment. They empower themselves, businesses, they buy properties all over the place. That's what they do. But my advice to them, what will they do? Time is against them. They have been holding meetings, like you said. All those meetings are teacup meetings.
What should they do?
Yes, there was no, they did not leave a structure of implementation of the resolution, which makes it a teacup. Because when you finish, you would have given us which structure are you going to use to raise the funds?
So it's not even about, well, raising the funds is not really an issue. They are getting the money now. They say 1 billion. Probably they have
what I'm saying, now who is going to implement what? What mechanism did they put in place? We have the Northern Nigeria Development Investment Company, which manages the resources that was harnessed from the northern states. We have and plan the development.
So they should go back to it.
Well, if they will do that, it will be better. But you see, we will look at it. Yes, we will look at it as an attempt to augment maybe their political shortcomings for 2023 because they have squandered their goodwill. And I think the North, as it is at the receiving end because of bad leadership and bad leadership recruitment process.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Solomon Dalung, for coming to the program and for your perspective on these serious issues, especially afflicting northern Nigeria. We hope to have you some other time so that we build from where we stop today.
Well, I pray that God will give me the opportunity to come.
Thank you. And viewers, that's a wrap on today's edition of Daily Politics. Join us tomorrow for another interesting edition. I'm Hamza Idris from here. Good night.